Around 1.5 million people in the UK have a learning disability. Most people with a learning disability are treated as different.
I've got bullied a lot.
People spitting on buses.
Sometimes I go on a bus and these examples for that these children or adults that push.
They go very anxious, sometimes they get sick.
There's some people can stand up on my head.
Shocked, upset.
That's unfair.
Personally, I really wish that I had no special needs.
The general public often confuses a learning disability with a mental health problem or learning difficulties such as dyslexia.
It's one of those things that people struggle with because there's so many different types of learning disability within that and so many different abilities that, you know, the range between people can be so huge.
You've got learning disability, some are obvious, sometimes not.
That's true, yeah.
It can be like inside, not outside, you know, your body. Learning disabilities, you know, sometimes you can't tell.
I think that it should be talked about more on the television so people can learn about disability people, because if you have never had a child of your own, you wouldn't understand how to cope with it.
People with learning disabilities want to be treated equally and have access to the same opportunities as the whole of society.
We all have limitations, whether you have a learning disability or not. People with learning disabilities are very often seen first and foremost as people with problems.
One thing for me that would have a huge impact in changing the residents' lives would be to actually take away the public's perceptions of what it is to have a learning disability, not to put people in boxes.
It's just a learning disability. You know, it doesn't affect their personality, it's just that they will have a learning disability that has changed their learning from birth, and that's it.
A learning disability can be caused by any problem that causes damage to the brain. Many causes have been discovered, but we still don't know for about a third of the people what causes their learning disability. One of the common causes are genetic conditions. A genetic condition may result from an abnormality of the genes, and this can be passed on from parents, but it's also possible often that new problems occur. Genetic conditions are more common when parents are blood relatives. Two common genetic causes of learning disabilities are Down syndrome and Fragile X syndrome. Secondly, problems at birth can also cause a learning disability, and so can childhood illness such as childhood infections. This causes damage to the brain, which then leads to problems later in life. The latest evidence doesn't support some common beliefs. In some religions, for example, it is believed that a learning disability is a punishment from God. But it's very rare that something parents did or didn't do is the cause of their children's disability. The one exception is when excessive drug or alcohol use has occurred during pregnancy, which then causes damage to the developing brain.
A hate crime is where somebody commits an offence against you because you are different to them. It could be because of your culture, your race, or your religion. There is also disability hate crime.
People pick on me because of my autism.
People pick on me because of my epilepsy.
People pick on me because I'm gay.
And my culture.
People pick on me because I got Down syndrome.
People call me names.
People pick on me, I can't think of that, and they call me stupid.
I come in for work around 9:15 and I sign in. Then I check the calendar, I check my emails, and I just type in draft minutes. And if a meeting need booking, I will book that. If you email me, I will send that. And then catch up with my husband.
Do you remember you set up the relationships meetings?
Yeah, for years again.
Yeah. Shamima, prior to coming to work at the council, left college with really not a lot of prospects. She'd been told that there was nothing really that she could progress on to. I need Carol. Shamima sat at home for 2-3 years. She was getting very depressed, but she wasn't happy.
I stuck with benefits and I was like bored. I was this close being depressed every single day. A busy day. Yeah, quite busy.
What about you?
Meeting around 11. My social skills are better now, and I just like be myself. I don't have to hide my disability. Before I have asked someone to shop for me, but now I can treat my family like for dinner or buy them something nice for them. It's like treat myself like clothes, books.
From behalf of Mum and Dad, I can honestly say that now she's started this job, it's helped her immensely. Her confidence levels have definitely risen. She's much more open. Like before, she used to like shy away from many things like weddings and family occasions, but now it's definitely brought her out of her shell.
We know that people with learning disabilities and their families find it very difficult when others stare at them, move away, or simply avoid having any contact. However, if a person doesn't know anyone with a learning disability, they can find it difficult to know what to say or do, and often people are unsure about how to behave. So if you meet a person with learning disabilities, here are a few tips to help you interact with them. See them as an individual rather than a person who has difficulties. Take your time when communicating and spend a little longer with the person to allow them enough time to understand you. Think creatively and use gestures or point to things around you to help them understand what you are trying to say.